Good afternoon and welcome to the Lords Group Trading PLC AGM Proceedings. That's a recorded meeting. Attendees are being listen-only mode. Questions can be submitted any time via the Q&A tab situated in the right-hand corner of your screen. Simply type in your question and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question submitted today. However, all questions will be reviewed with responses published on the Investor Meet Company platform where appropriate to do so. I'd now like to hand you over to Gary O'Brien, Chairman of the Lords Board, who acts as Chairman of this AGM. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the company's 2023 Annual General Meeting of Lords Group Trading PLC. My name is Gary O'Brien. I'm the Chairman of the company and I'll be chairing the Annual General Meeting today. Thank you to everyone who's actually attended at St. Cos's offices and via the Investor Meet Company platform. We have at least 2 members present. I therefore declare that a quorum is present and we can continue with the meeting. For this morning's AGM, in the room I have with me Shankar Patel, Chief Executive Officer of the company, Chris Day, sitting to my immediate right, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operating Officer, and Andrew Harrison, Senior Independent Non-Executive Director. Now, before we actually get into what I'll call the formal aspects of the business, the company did issue a trading release this morning, that should now be shown on the screen. I will read that out, although I'm sure you could be reading yourselves, but I'll do it for you. Since the release of our full year results on the 3rd of May 23, the resilient trading performance as a group has continued and will maintain expectations for full year trading performance for the year ended 31st of December 2023 to be in line with market expectations. Whilst a persistently negative macroeconomic backdrop and uncertain interest rate environment has persisted throughout the fiscal year 23 and has impacted consumer sentiment, our diverse product offering and end customer base, combined with our careful executed M&A strategy, has meant that softer demand in some segments of the business year to date have been offset by robust performance in others. In merchanting, we continue to expand our geographical presence and broaden our product range, as was illustrated by the acquisition of Chiltern Timber Supplies in April 2023. In plumbing and heating, the group has scope to increase our Mr. Central Heating offering to 50 branches nationwide over the next 5 years, whilst also expanding our product range and margins through the inclusion of additional products such as air source heat pumps and underfloor heating, the demand for which will be underpinned with the obligation to decarbonise the built environment in the medium term. All acquisitions executed in fiscal year 22, as well as Chiltern Timber Supplies, are performing in line with our expectations at the time of acquisition, and the pipeline of M&A opportunities remains strong. Following the refinancing of our facilities on the 6th of April 23, we have financial headroom to expand on our less than 1% market share by being one of the few acquirers of choice in the market. That ends the trading statement itself, and I'll now go into the formal aspects of the business. Following this, the directors will be available for Q&A sessions, and we can take questions from the audience and from those submitted online. Shareholders were given the opportunity to submit questions in advance of the AGM, and we've had several of those, and questions will be submitted to our team at any time during the meeting using the Q&A function on the Investor Meet Company platform. Now, for this meeting, in line with good governance practice, all resolutions will be voted on by poll. To ensure that the proxy votes of all of our members not in attendance today are counted on the resolution. The results of the poll on each resolution will be announced before the conclusion of this annual general meeting and published on the company's website as soon as reasonably practical. Now, unless there are any comments or questions to the board concerning the matters referred to in the notice, including any of the proposed resolutions, then I propose that we proceed to the business of the meeting, and I will put the resolutions to the meeting one after another. The actual terms of the resolutions are set out in the full notice. So unless there are any objections, I propose to take the notice as read. Okay, If I can go into the resolutions and cover them in turn. We have 9 ordinary resolutions. The first one being to receive the company's audited accounts for the financial year ended 31st of December 2022, together with the directors and auditors' report thereon. Resolutions 2 to 5 are to re-elect the directors, Shankar Patel, Christopher Day, Andrew Harrison, and myself, Gary O'Brien. Resolution 6 seeks to declare a final dividend of £1.33. Got people excited for a minute. Excuse that. £1.33 per ordinary share, and to ratify the payments of the £1.26 per ordinary share paid on 7th of July 22 as part of the final dividend for the 12 months ending the 31st of December 2021. Resolution 7 seeks to appoint RSM UK Audit LLP as the company's auditor, and Resolution 8 seeks to authorise the directors to determine the fees payable to the auditors. Resolution 9, being the final ordinary resolution, seeks to authorise the directors to allot relevant securities pursuant to Section 551 of the Companies Act 2006, as set out in the notice of the meeting. There are then 2 special resolutions, which I am proposing. Resolution 10 is proposed as a special resolution which seeks to authorise the limited application of preemption rights pursuant to Section 570 of the Companies Act 2006, as set out in the notice of the meeting. And Resolution 11, the final resolution, is proposed as a special resolution which seeks authority to authorise the additional limited disapplication of preemption rights pursuant to Section 570 of the Companies Act 2006, as set out in the notice of the meeting. Now, since all shareholders were encouraged to submit their proxies in advance of the AGM, we have collated the results of the poll, and I am pleased to confirm that all resolutions have been passed with over 93% of votes cast in favour of each. The detailed voting figures will be released via an RNS published on, and will be published on the company's website as soon as reasonably after the meeting. I will now pass over to Paul to introduce us to the Q&A session. So, Paul, if I can pass that to you.
Gary, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please submit your questions using the Q&A tab situated in the top right-hand corner of your screen. To while the company take a few moments, I'd like to remind you that the company may not be in a position to answer every question received today. Have all questions be reviewed with responses published on the Investor Meet Company platform where it's appropriate to do so. Gary, if I may hand back to you to take any questions from the floor or online, if you could please read out the question and give a response where appropriate to do so, and I'll pick up from you at the end. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to actually ask Chris if you would mind reading out the questions. So, Chris, if you, I think we had 3 submitted.
Correct.
In writing.
Yeah, 3 submitted. Question 1, why are you issuing dividends instead of doing share buybacks? What is your view on further dilution for FY24 and onwards?
Right. I mean, the board, obviously one of the board's responsibilities is to assess the best means of delivering the returns to the shareholders going forward. Now, the company's acquisition strategy continues to target acquisitions in the 4 to 6 times EBITDA range. And at the current time, the company's dividend policy set at the time of the company's IPO, and the capital growth capable of being delivered through the execution of the group's organic and inorganic growth strategy are considered to be the most attractive means of delivering returns to the shareholders longer term.
Okay. Second question, given the strong increase in operating working capital, where do you see it for FY24 and onwards? So I'll answer that one. I think the question is probably seeing the movement in the balance sheet year on year, which is driven by the 4 acquisitions that were made in 2022. If you look at it on a like-for-like or consolidated basis, the net working capital movement was actually £2 million, which is consistent with our belief that we've got some efficiency in the core of our working capital that we continue to drive, which will help fund the initiatives that need to be fully funded. And this is the final question, unless another one comes through while we're answering. So third question, Like for like FY22 revenue growth was 0.2%. Do you think that you are focusing too much on acquisitions? What can be done to achieve organic revenue growth?
Okay, I think that's an ideal one for Shankar to respond to.
Yes, thank you. So overall, the group's like-for-like was suppressed by the industry-wide boiler supply issue, which we had informed the markets about. And these were presented during 2022, ultimately easing by the year end. What this has done is marks the like-for-like revenue growth of 17.4% in our merchanting division, and that is materially ahead of the market performance in 2022. This has been driven by our organic levers of product range extension, our investments in our digital capability, and of course our investments in our 3Ps. We're confident that despite the boiler issues, our P&H division, which grew last year in its EBITDA by 34.5%, enhancing its EBITDA margin by 1.6% to 6%. So overall, we're confident that we have sufficient concentration and initiatives on like-for-like revenue growth into 2023 and beyond.
Okay, thank you, Shankar.
We've had a fourth question come through, read that. The share price is so depressed. I am so bullish about Lords, but have a steep decline in my investment value. I'm pleased with the AGM statement, but would like to know how the board see the share price by the end of the year.
Well, I'll take that one on. That's from
Michael.
From Michael. I can understand your frustrations, Michael, and I can assure you, you're probably sitting looking at people who are equally frustrated. Unfortunately, despite the performance of the business, and as you've seen from the trading statements that we've issued in the past and the year-end results, where we performed significantly ahead of what I would say the market generally, the share price languishes. That's not unusual. It's the market that we're currently it's market, the vagaries of the market and generally as opposed to ourselves. So unfortunately, there's no immediate response I can give you in terms of where we're going to be and how we're going to get there. I think our job is, and here I'm addressing both Shankar and Chris, is our job is to make sure we keep our head down and keep the business performing. And hopefully you will see the rewards. But unfortunately, that's not for me to say. Okay.
Okay. No further questions.
No further questions. No. In which case, if that concludes questioning, it also concludes the business of the AGM, and I'll declare the meeting closed. And thank you for all joining us today. Paul, if I can pass back to you.
Gary, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for updating attendees today. Can I please ask attendees not to close the session? It should be automatically redirected to provide your feedback in order the board can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete and is greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the board of Lords Group Trading PLC, I'd like to thank you for attending today's annual general meeting proceedings. Good afternoon to you.